I did bring a few transparencies with me to show thermal imaging that I took pictures of a horse prior to using the Zeb on it and afterwards, and it'll really give you a good idea of how this actually reduces inflammation and give you a good visual picture. The gal that has this horse, she is a human physical therapist, and she said if I had not seen those pictures today, I would have never believed that this fixed or alleviated the problem I was having with my horse.
Yeah.
Big red.
Big red button.
What I did in these pictures is when I use the thermal imaging, I want to compare size of the horse so I have something to go by. I want to look what normal looks like, and I want to see what inflamed looks like. So if you think about these pictures, like this being a flame of a candle, the brighter the light, the hotter it is. So what I did was I compared the right front hoof and the left front hoof from the front, the side, and the rear views. I used the Zeb on this horse maybe 5 to 8 minutes. Also used my rod with it to see when it cleared out. And we took pictures immediately after we took the Zeb off of it, and the last column is what we got. So you can see that the inflammation here as compared to here was greatly reduced. This was a veterinary verified case of ringbone, which is calcification in this area on that horse. And she got him out the next day, put him on the lunge line to exercise him, and he was going sound on that leg. Typically this flares up for this horse in wintertime, more like an arthritic type thing, or if he's being ridden more than usual, it'll flare up. And the Zeb has seemed to help them out quite a bit with it. Another thing I wanted to show you is you can also use the Zeb for healing wounds. This is my filly who went through the fence. Oh. Initially, she had just external injuries, all superficial, lots of swelling. She had swelling clear up in this area, down here, into her legs, and along the ventral surface for 1 week. 1 week after that happened, she reached down to scratch her chest, and the swelling, it broke open. She had this big gaping hole in her chest. This picture was taken last week on Wednesday. This is 19 days after the whole area broke open on her. So what I want to point out to you in 19 days is if you can, this is kind of faint, but this is the scar. When that broke open, all the skin on her chest fell away from it. I called the vet in, we needed to, but I did Zeb work with it as well. So this has gone from this size to this size in 19 days. That picture was taken on Wednesday. This morning, the hole in her chest was this big. And I really think that doing the energy work using the Zeb with her has significantly reduced the healing time for that.
When you were doing the Zeb for the healing, did you just do a saliva sample? Did you use the black end? Did you use the 6-thing diet? Like, what did you do specifically for healing?
What I did specifically for healing it, besides what the vet recommended, was to flush it out 2 or 3 times a day. Also use Shriners on it, which helps prevent proud flesh. And she's still on a course of antibiotics because the hole does go into the cavity. When I use the Zeb, I use the white end, which is typically for pain and inflammation. I would just scan her chest with it, run it back and forth. I don't know if you guys have noticed when you use the Zeb, sometimes it changes weight in your hand, like it gets heavier, especially if you're in a heavily restricted area. And I also found that in using that, you can gauge the type of restriction, how big it is, by how close you can get to it. If you think about our oars and think about something bumping into them, when I come upon a big restriction on any type of animal, it feels like there's a pillow or a cushion around them, and the zeb won't go any closer to it until that starts to move out.
Yeah, I've noticed this too. What she's saying is you get resistance.
Exactly.
You feel this slight resistance, like, wait a minute, let this clear before you go any further, you know?
And as soon as it clears, you can get the zeb right up against it. I've also done some distance work with the zeb where I have programmed it at night to help her. I also use a pendulum with it at times, or sometimes I use pendulum on a horse if I don't have a zeb handy, to figure out whether I've got a restriction completely worked out or not.
And how long did the vet say it would take for that to heal up?
The vet said on this injury, when it was this big, he told me that it would take about 6 months for it to be completely filled in with scar tissue and closed. And what really surprises me about this is typically when you have scarring, you don't get hair growth until later. This has hair right up to the edge of that wound. And it's just, I cannot get over what I see with using this tool, whether it's animal or human. It's just absolutely amazing.